reached out to from a disciple in the church to come out into a Bible discussion, and we had went and it was about, I remember it was about Jonah and the whale, and thought it was cool. And I played basketball with the guy that had reached out to me in college, and he invited everybody, and we went like, yeah, we'll support him. It'll be great. So we went, and we're like, yeah, this is cool, but maybe not really for me. So a couple of years went by, but he kind of planted that seed. Then a couple of years went by, and about midway through my junior year in college, my mom passed away. And that was something that hurt quite a bit, because I cared about my mom so much. And I was very close to my mom, and we had a great relationship. And it was all kind of unexpected and very fast. And it hit me so hard that I just didn't know what to do. It made me realize that I needed to figure out who and what God is and was. And the person that I knew who knew God was the guy that reached out to me. Jaron is his name. And so I called him and said, Jaron, I need to figure out who God is, because life is just, it's taking a toll on me now. And so we started studying, and to give you an idea where we were at, we were extremely agnostic. We've been to church maybe like 3 times in our entire lives combined.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I had never been to church, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the 3 were just me.
Okay.
But so we went to the first. So we went through a study series of the Bible, just kind of learned, what is God saying in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so I had my Bible. I was all ready, and so all right, we're gonna look at the book of John today. I thought I brought the wrong book.
Oh, wow.
That's how little I knew about God. I was like, oh, the book of John. You told me to bring my Bible, Jay. Like, what is this? And it's like, no, it's in there. So we were a blank slate, ready to get filled up by the Holy Spirit, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So we started studying about around the same time. So we both did our studies together, and we kind of realized, wow, we're living this life, and we realized, and side note, we've been together since we were 15.
Oh.
Yeah, we were already
so we've been together for a while.
Okay.
And we realized, we were living together, and we had to make a decision at that point, is what are we going to do with our lives here? Are we going to pursue this pure relationship, or are we going to get married? That's kind of where we were at. And
so how did you feel throughout this, time?
So this was kind of so we started dating when we were 15, and so I was very close to his family. And my mom had actually passed away a couple years prior to that, and so we kind of both were going through a lot of the same emotions, and we were trying to just figure everything out. And so we both were in the same boat. We both were curious, wandering and looking. And so that's kind of how we both decided, like, oh, let's go to church. We need to start figuring this out.
Okay. So, Gary, how did you fit into all this? How did you fit into this situation?
Well, when he went off to college, when Nathan went off to college, it was a big step for mine and my wife's relationship. And then I wanted to get with God. I've been trying to read the Bible a little bit, and just I wanted it in my life. I quit drinking and did the things that I had done in my past, and I just wanted God in my life. And then his mom passed away, and it kind of set me back a long way. And then I started going to church with Nathan when I went out to Milwaukee, and it just changed my life. I mean, with seeing him happy again, and it just makes a big difference. Meeting the people that were out there. Mark Kang was there, pastor here, Mark Kang, and got me in touch with a couple of people out there, with Tim Lang, who was very inspirational in my life. And then Tom Wilson, who was here, was very inspirational. And then Mark came here, and he called me, and walked in the door. He says, just come in, and we'll take care of you from there. I've been here ever since. I've been a disciple for almost 4 years now.
Wow,
baptized in December 27, 2015. And it changed my life completely. And then I come in here and just met my wife, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever get married again, because I said I had an awesome wife before.
Yeah.
She was a very awesome woman.
That's great.
And she's an awesome woman too. And it just made my whole life change to come to this church, and the beautiful people in this church that I've met more and more. And it's opened me up from what I used to be to what I
Yeah.
am now. Because a year ago, I would never done this.
Yeah.
It scares me to death.
We're here for you. We're here with you. And
Adol's been working on me for a long time.
I mean, you guys have a beautiful story to tell. So I know a lot of people will be inspired by you guys and about your journey, especially the challenges you've had with losing a spouse. You know, a lot of people will gain inspiration from that and know that God has answers for them. You know, Andrea, I've known you the longest, but a lot of people don't know what I know. So I've also found out that I don't know what I know because I've been calling you the wrong name for 9 years. So,
Lots of Andreas, that's why Andreas.
so yes, could you tell us a little bit about your story and before you met Gary and how God was taking care of you and your challenges?
Well, I became a disciple in 1987,
Mm-hmm.
and I was married in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it started out, and he was a disciple at the time, so
Mhm.
it started out, you know, pretty good, but the relationship got rockier and rockier, and it just got to the point where I had to make a decision,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Well, I was thinking I was making a decision for my kids, you know, what's best for my kids, and
Yes.
and can I stay in this relationship or not? And I just decided, you know, I said, you know what, I can't stay. It was abusive and, you know, more emotionally, but so I got a divorce in 2007,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I dated some people in the church, and you know, there was a lot of like opportunities to date, and I always had the desire to get, you know, remarried.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew that God could take care of that. For the first 5 years, I probably thought, well, maybe John will change.
Yes.
I think God could do miracles,
Yes.
you know. But then I realized, you know, the end of 5 years, I think God really put it on my heart that, you know what, things aren't going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to move on.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I had dated some, and it never worked out. And I'm thinking, gosh, this is never gonna be remarried at this point. Maybe God will just
Yeah.
take that desire away, and you know, maybe it's not meant for me to be
Mhm.
remarried. And I remember when Gary got baptized, I thought, wow, a single older guy. It doesn't happen too much at church. But I didn't think much because I've been disappointed a lot of times. So I was like, you know, I'm not even gonna like, you know, put my heart out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe it's just not meant to be. So, yeah. So then one day, Sue Johnson was talking to me, and she says, well, let's go talk to Greg. And so I go to the back, and there's Gary and Malcolm and Scotty at the back, and and Sue goes, or I don't remember, Greg or Sue, you know, maybe we should go, you know, do a threesome date thing.
Yeah.
And I look at Gary's face. Because I had talked to him a few times, and you know. Okay. Anyway, so we went out to the deli hut, and you know, we were talking, and you know, it was easy to talk to, and we went out a few times, and a little bit I felt like I was moving a little too fast, but but anyway, after about a month, I was like, you know what? Maybe God's meant for me to, you know, answer those prayers to be remarried.
That's great. So what led you guys to the decision to, you know what, I'm going to follow God's plan to be remarried? Obviously, marriage is a gift from God, and He provides those who will help us, you know, to get to the next level spiritually as well. So what brought you guys ultimately together?
God brought us ultimately.
Yeah.
We just, as we were dating, being able to talk to each other, being honest with each other, it was such a blessing to do it God's way,
Yes.
the way God meant it to be, and to be able to just talk and become friends before anything else. You just let God take over our lives, and just study and do everything, and just be together and just be truthful with each other. It just made our lives so much happier. And every day, it's like we're still dating. Every day is like we're still dating.
I have a quick question for you guys. Like, how did seeing your dad get transformed in the way that he did? How did that affect your faith?
It is honestly one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, I'm dead serious. to see who my dad was, you know, growing up as somebody who was shy, you know, bit of anger thing going on, but God, love my dad, always love my dad, but you know, just very introverted, and
Yes.
especially after what happened to my mom, just kind of see, you know, my dad kind of just shut down, you know, as you know, it's just so traumatic, and how do you go through something like that, to see the way God works, and see the way that with all things with God all things are possible. You know, my dad's just transformed into this guy who just loves volunteering, loves giving, just this pure heart, just a heart that's completely transformed by God. I think is something that could grow anybody's faith out of any situation.
Yeah. And you were there right along
and I
every
think,
step of the way.
Yeah, it was really cool. I saw him he called his dad almost every single day and talked to him and just tried to share, you know, the blessings that was happening in his life. And I think oftentimes and a lot of people can put our own perceptions on people, like, oh, I'm not going to try to reach out and share my faith with my dad or this person in my family or this friend because they're never going to become a disciple. And that was just reaffirming to know, like, if we share our lives, anything can happen, and let God work, and don't put those expectations on God, you know, because God can't do anything. And that was what was really encouraging about him getting baptized inside the Bible.
Wow. I have one more question, and it's for Andrea. Andrea, and I guess all of you can answer this question. How do you feel God has answered your prayers? Like, how do you feel throughout this whole process, how God has answered your prayers specifically?
I think a lot of it was, you know, knowing that, you know, God works in his own time. And, you know, I always I had a vision for the type of man I wanted to be married to. And, you know, those were kind of shattered, you know, early on. And then you're kind of like, okay, you know, he was a disciple.
Yeah.
And this is what happened, you know. And, but I think even in the early years of our marriage, he wasn't the man that like I said, I envisioned. You know, I envisioned somebody who was close to God, kind, cared about what I, you know, wanted. I didn't always feel that. You know, there were moments in that. So I feel like God really embodied those things in Gary.
Yeah.
You know, he really cares. He really thinks about the things. Like sometimes he'll say something like, "You paid attention to what I was saying." Oh my gosh. You know, so just those things like that you know, this is the vision I had, but you know, the first one, it didn't work out that way.
Okay. What about you guys? How do you think God has answered your prayers throughout this whole process?
Oh, I think from the beginning, God answered the prayer to even just get to know Him.
Yeah.
That was huge. God answered the prayer to give our life direction, because He gave us a reason to live.
The purpose.
And I think one of the biggest things that I prayed about so much during this whole process, once we found God and got baptized, was I want my dad to be happy again.
Wow.
And God answered that in such an amazing way by pairing you guys together.
Yeah.
And I see how happy you guys are, and I see just the true joy that you have, Dad, and it's remarkable, and it's joy that can only be found through God.
That's true. Yes.
That's fantastic. I think that knowing that God is very powerful and able to triumph over anything, any hurts or pains that we have, is really cool to know that He has that much control, and He can give us the comfort that we need. Gary, I just want to, I see that God has changed your life. He says shy. I don't get that, because you're like serving every Sunday, welcoming people.
Those are the things that I actually like to do. I like to smile. I smile all the time. I like to say hi to people. That's what I like to do. I don't know if I could go up on stage and talk, but it's just, I do have a shyness in me that I've had all my life.
Okay.
So, and I just, what he's done for me here, to bring me out even to do things I've done. I've never volunteered in my life. I never went to church in my life. I didn't do any of that, and to have him bring something out of me that I didn't think was there.
So, Are there any prayers that you've had, especially in the beginning when studying, that have been answered since then?
Just that they were going to be happy. My kids were going to be happy, and I think they're very happy. I have another son too, and they're happy. And Jessica and Nathan are very happy, and they have a nice young son.
Yeah.
Makes me real happy. I'm married and with Andrea here, and it's just he's changed my life completely. I just can't emphasize all the prayers he's answered for me about everything that goes on in my life. That as calm as I am now, he's really made me. I'm not the angry man that I used to be, because I was a very angry guy, and you know him sometimes. Especially when I sling a sledgehammer.
So that's great, guys. It's an incredible story, incredible conversion, influencing your dad in a lot of ways, I'm sure, planting those seeds and letting God water those seeds and make them grow. I think that everybody did what exactly they were supposed to do, and God has blessed your efforts. And I'm learning from this experience that maybe I should put more faith in God too. You know, I mean, I'm also a disciple, but we all slip up. So we'll end there. Again, this has been a great conversation with disciples from Detroit. I mean, you're not from Detroit, but
Long visit.
And thank you guys for serving in the way that you do, and that's all. So say bye to all those around the world, and thank you for inspiring us all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.